Monica, all yours. Sorry. It's not a guess, it's just
Thank you very much, Steph, and good afternoon, everyone. I will start with a note about the event that is happening right now at the General Assembly and expected to conclude this afternoon. The GA will conclude this afternoon the high-level meeting to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the establishment of the International Labour Organization, ILO. The event, which started on Wednesday, was followed by a high-level meeting on the GA on the future of work. The PJ will deliver a statement to close the high-level meeting, which was attended by a head of state ministers, representatives of academia, the private sector, civil society, and young people. Mrs. Espinosa said that work is a fundamental right. She commends the ILO for being the vanguard of social justice and its contribution to promoting sustainable development. The quest to achieve decent work for all and to ensure that effective policies are in place remains one of her 7 priorities during this session. Mrs. Espinosa believes that the commemoration of the ILO centenary is a great opportunity to mobilize leaders to fulfill Sustainable Development Goal 8 on decent work and economic growth. The PJ will be accompanied by the closing segment by the Director General of the International Labour Organization, Mr. Guy Ryder, who was actually with us here yesterday. And tomorrow, 12th April, President Maria Fernanda Espinosa will deliver the opening remarks in a ceremony at the J Hall to mark the 25th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Earlier this week, Mrs. Espinosa issued a tweet affirming that the genocide in 1994 is one of the darkest chapters in human history. Mrs. Espinosa honored those who were murdered and stressed the suffering of those who survived. More than 800,000 people, overwhelmingly Tutsi, but also moderate Hutu, Twa, and others were systematically killed in less than 3 months. The annual commemoration on the International Day of Reflection on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda is being organized by the Department of Global Communications and the Mission of Rwanda to the UN. And this is actually everything from us. Do you have any questions for today? Yes, go ahead.
Yes, you've probably been asked this question before, but can you explain the process of changing the representative of a member state here at the United Nations, how that works, and have you received an official request from the United States about Venezuela? Thank you.
Okay, we have no request. The General Assembly has not received a request. As you know, specifically, the Credentials Committee, which looks into these issues, this issue actually of accreditation and credentials. And the credentials for the current session have already been informed and communicated. So we don't have any official request or any request, as a matter of fact, in this regard.
And the process, how that works?
The Credentials Committee is a committee that is actually composed by 9 member states. For this current session, we have Antigua and Barbuda, Chile, China, Finland, Ghana, Palau, which is the chair of the committee, Russia, Sierra Leone, and the USA. Thank you. Evelyn, go ahead.
Does the Credentials Committee have to do consensus, or is it majority vote? Because then it's whatever request is dead with that population.
Yes. With the Credentials Committee, usually the decisions are made by consensus.
And one more question. The former foreign minister of Ecuador have any comment on Julian Assange?
The PGA expects that as it is the case actually with every individual, that the rights of Mr. Assange will be protected and respected based on international standards. Thank you. I have you here. That was the question. Okay, we go ahead, Mario and Nabil. Mario, go ahead.
Just to follow up, given that she was very involved in trying to resolve the situation of Mr. Assange, is she satisfied with this outcome, or would she have liked to see a different situation?
No, we are not going to comment on the case when the then foreign minister of Ecuador, Ms. Maria Fernanda Espinosa, was in her post. We are now talking about her present role. And as the PGA, she truly expects that the rights of Mr. Assange will be respected, will be protected, again, based actually on international standards, and as it is with every individual. Yeah. Nabil, go ahead.
Back to the Credentials Committee. So is the decision taken by the committee, is it a final decision, or should it be endorsed by a resolution or a vote in the General Assembly?
Any decision on membership to the United Nations is actually a prerogative, a decision made by member states. Member states have the final word.
You mean after the committee addresses the issue, the same case or the matter will be handled to the General Assembly, and that will be voted on in the General Assembly?
We have to actually understand the process here. When the Credentials Committee meets, the Credential Committee evaluates and assess the credentials that are being requested. I think you are referring to what was announced yesterday by a member state. And this is, we are not going to talk about hypotheticals here. This was an announcement that was made yesterday. That actually, I would refer you to the member state in question. But we understand that we're talking about a resolution based on the announcement yesterday. This is another matter, another process. Resolution is dealt with when it is received by the General Assembly directly. Okay? Go ahead.
Just to follow up, just to understand better, so you have 9 members on the committee, and then that includes permanent members that always stay in that committee. Will they have, like in the Security Council, and I'm asking out of knowledge of it, will they have veto powers, or they will have the possibility, or everybody is equal in that process?
Yeah, the committee, the Credentials Committee actually is formed by 9 members. Decisions, as we mentioned before, are made taken actually by consensus. And according to the information I have, in 3 decades, it hasn't been any votes in this committee, but voting is not prohibited. So, again, we are going into hypotheticals here. I would like to keep things into perspective. If there was an announcement yesterday, we all heard, and I would really recommend you to clarify the information that was announced yesterday with the member state in question, and then we can, if the General Assembly receives anything. Go ahead. You have your mic?
Yes, thank you. Just to follow up on Celia's question.
Sure.
We've asked just about everyone at the UN. Everyone has a little bit of a different answer to the procedure. Does a GA resolution on credentials have to go through the Credentials Committee? Now, you said to me, yes, and that's what everyone seems to say, but there have been examples like, I think Ouattara, the change of government there, it went right to the GA floor as far as I understand. And so could it go right to the GA floor? And some people do say 50%, some say 2/3, and that depends on how it's framed.
No, a resolution, a draft resolution, we have to say, not a resolution. Resolution is something that is being a text that is adopted, approved, a draft resolution. When it is presented, goes into consideration to the General Assembly. In regard with the 2/3 or simple majority, this is a decision by member states. Member states will make this decision when it comes to it. Okay.
The Credentials Committee
The Credentials Committee.
has to go, as far as you're concerned, to the Credentials Committee first?
No, the Credentials Committee assesses the requests for credentials for every session. If there is a resolution, this is another matter, it goes to the General Assembly directly. This is my understanding. Okay, does anyone have any other questions? If not, I think we have somebody who is waiting to be here and take the podium. And I thank you, and I see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.